Moving in the fast lane, there's no slowing her down.
So I want to write a letter to myself in my 20s. And the reason is because I have to tell that girl so many things, and things that I probably wish somebody who was in their 40s would have told me in my 20s. So yeah, I'm going to write a letter to my 20-something self. I think that's a good idea. Now, paper, notebook, pencil from Ralph Lauren. Out of all the 11 notebooks I have here, I clearly do not have one in front of me. Hold on. Okay. Let's write a letter to my 20-something self. And you should do this too, if you are not already in your 20s. But if you are in your 20s, I challenge you to write a letter to yourself in your 40s. Talk about all the things that you're experiencing right now and just what life is like, how you're feeling, who you're into, what music you adore, what don't you like, what you think you're going to be like in the next 5, 10, or 15 years. Those things are cool, they're aspirational. And it's also a good thing to write things down and make them plain, right? So I'm gonna do that in the opposite way, and I'm gonna write a letter to my 20-something self because I should. There's so much I have to tell her about what's about to happen. And not necessarily in a bad way, just life. Because who saw a pandemic coming? You know, right? Who saw that? If you're in your 20s, this is the perfect time to not know what the heck you're doing. You shouldn't, because your 20s are supposed to be messy. They're supposed to be exploratory. It is like you are a baby deer who has just been born and you are trying to get your legs in the real world and life with like out all the confines or protection of like a home or your parents or rules and things like that. Like in your 20s, you can vote, you can drink. After a certain point, you can rent a car. So you pretty much have the lay of the land of things, you know, that you're finally able to do legally. What everybody is showing what a 20-year-old should be doing, what they should look like, what they should aspire for and do, and all of this weird advice. Nobody's actually telling you that most of that stuff is stupid. Those things won't matter in 10 years, let alone 20. And yeah. Your 20s are not going to be the version that you see on the internet. It's not a highlight reel. It is not, oh, I'm just building my dream life from this coastal place. Like, you know, I live on the beach and everything's amazing and I'm just hanging out all the time. Now, if that's you, then amazing. And you probably don't need any help, or you need the most help. But for most people, that is not aesthetic morning routines. That's not, you know, get ready with me while I tell you about the 55 guys that, you know, I met last night. Some of us are not going to college. Some of us are. And even if we are, we're not having those kinds of experiences before we get to our 20s. So the world is different for everyone. But I will say, whether you are a 20-something that knows exactly what they're doing, has a plan and where they're going, or a 20-something that has no plan, no idea where they're going, and everything seems like it is glitter that has been poured into a bottle of water and just shaken up and just like, ooh, oh my gosh. We've all been there at certain points in time. And you're never gonna know everything. And that's the beauty of being in your 20s, you know? You are really discovering a lot about the world, your environment, your where you came from, where you may want to go. And you're going to try a bunch of things. You're going to do a bunch of things. And hopefully you will learn from mostly all of it. So let's focus in on what's actually happening. I'm talking about like the part where there's no camera on you. You're not posing. You're not out. You're not being the girl in the scene. You are lying in bed awake at midnight or 2 a.m. or 6 a.m. or whatever. And you are wondering if you are doing everything wrong, if your decisions that you're making now are really going to matter later, or if you're just like confused as hell. Because that's what it is, honestly. I think somebody really needs to sit down and just like talk with 20 somethings. And I'm not talking about like, oh, I'm here to give you like, you know, very step-by-step advice, because that's not always going to be necessary. Sometimes you just need somebody to talk to. And honestly, I wish that I had a sister or a bigger sister to talk to, but I don't. I'm the oldest. So shout out to all my oldest born daughters. We are out there fighting the good fight, and it's a struggle for all of us. So I am going to step in and be the big sister who's just going to talk to you about everything in your 20s plainly. One of the things that I definitely think that I could have benefited from the most is somebody saying you're in your 20s, you're in your very babyest of primes, and you are seen. Like, we get it. You want to be seen, you want to be out there, but you're already seen. Because that's what you're going to do. You're exploratory. You are in your exploratory phase of life. You're going to make all the right and wrong decisions at the same time because they seem great in the moment, but then in the aftermath, when you are waking up after having a bunch of Incredible Hulks or Everclear or whatever experimental cocktail that somebody made for you one night because, you know, it was just fun, just live a little, you will regret it, but it will be a memory. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, let's start off small and in no particular order. Let's just talk about a couple of things. Some of them may be stingy. Some of them may be funny. Some of them may be really relatable, but we all need to hear the truth. And sometimes the truth does hurt, but it is very valuable and valid. And since I've been through a lot of life, I'm here to help you get through your valuable life. And also I want to just make sure that you guys feel like there's somebody out there that's talking to you and that's listening to you, and that you don't feel alone or isolated, because I know that's a really big thing nowadays. Ever since COVID, ever since the pandemic, people have been more separated than ever, and people don't actually have in-person relationships or conversations. We are very much in a parasocial place, but I want to kind of build a bridge and really talk to my audience. I want to talk to people. Like, I've had to work from home even before the pandemic. I was working from home. I lived on the West Coast, worked on the East Coast, so I was never actually in an office on my own. So I'm not talking to anybody, you know, during break time or in between meetings. I'm not, you know, chatting with my coworkers about TV last night or what's going on in Love Island or anything like that. But those things I kind of miss, because that's how you build community. That's how you really understand, you know, how to interact with different personalities and individuals, and also find out different things about people, different activities, hobbies, events, things like that. And I'm really sad that kind of a part of that culture is being taken away. It's not even being taken away. It's kind of dissolving a little bit because people just want to be on their phones. They want to be at home. We're broken down into silos, kind of like solitude, and that's not great. Humans are meant to interact with other humans. We're not meant to be alone. So I don't want you to feel alone, so let's chat. So let's start with some very general. Let's start off with something that people have obviously told you, I'm sure. I know. No. First, let's talk about, all right. And now that we've done an introduction and I've talked way too much in the introduction, let's really get into talking about something. And the first thing that I want to say right off the bat, we'll start with just life lesson number one, I guess. Which is an easy one, and pretty much everybody knows it. We have heard it many times. You're going to hear it in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s. You're just gonna hear it all the time, honestly. Here goes. Nobody has it all figured out. Not anyone. Not you, not me, not Beyonce, not Rihanna, not The Rock. Nobody has it all figured out, you know? And that's absolutely okay. Now, especially in your 20s, absolutely nobody has everything figured out in their 20s. They know nothing. And the reason why I'm saying it like that is because, number one, it's true, because you do not know what life is going to throw at you. In your 20s, you are very much experimenting and being experimental in your life. You can reinvent yourself as many times as you want. You have either strong opinions about something or no opinions about something, and those will come later. But nobody has it all figured out in their 20s. If somebody tells you that they have it all figured out in their 20s, run away from them. They don't have anything figured out. So I know that you guys see everybody's online all the time, and everybody's online all the time, and there's like this persona that you have to be a certain way or have this or have that, and it's like in the know and what's next and what's on trend and blah 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 blah. Like the person that you follow who seems to have the most perfect apartment or the perfect career trajectory or the perfect relationship or like their perfect sense of action, like their perfect style or who they are and what they want and where they're going. And none of that is true. All of that is smoke and mirrors. And honestly, even though it may seem like somebody has it all together, like right in their 20s, like even early 20s, it's all going to change up and become something else. And also, I think that when we're talking about somebody who has it all together in their 20s, nobody's really thinking about what can happen in life. That person's perfect apartment may get flooded and then they have to move somewhere else into a less perfect apartment. And then you find out that their perfect job that they had is no more and they have to start over, and that may make them crumble. Or they had an accident and now they are not the perfect beauty or the perfect size anymore because they have to take some kind of rehabilitation medication, so it made them gain weight, and now they look different, or their mood shifts and their attitudes change. Those people are performing. Every single person who has the perfect this, the perfect that, the perfect relationship, we'll get there. All of those people are performing. They're not lying. They are just performing in a certain way that is normal and comfortable for them, but it's not going to stay that way. They're editing themselves, especially online. We're giving you the top highlights, the hits and everything. Nobody is showing you their dirty, messy corner. Nobody's that authentic online all the time. I think that's starting to happen now a little bit more, but for the most part, it's very stylized. It's giving you very Kim Kardashian. It's giving you all of the influencer girlies with the perfect lighting and the perfect photo because they have a ring light and the perfect lip gloss. And that's just not sustainable. Honestly, it's exhausting. So you guys got it because y'all got the energy. But all of that is super chaotic sometimes. And it can be overwhelming. But those people are also going through the same things you are. They're going through whether or not they feel good enough. They have insecurity issues. They are doubting themselves as well. They're not sure what their next move is. They're trying to hustle. They're trying to make sense of life. They're awake at 2 a.m. trying to figure out life. They have relationship problems. They don't know what they're going to do about X, Y, and Z. You have to really take all the images that you see of people who have this perfect life and understand that they are showing you the highlight reel. They're not showing you the everyday work. They're not showing you the argument they had 20 minutes before they posted that photo. When I was in my 20s, I had the best time. Like, I moved to New York after college and moved to Brooklyn. So I had a Brooklyn apartment with 3 other people. It was a fantastic apartment. 4-bedroom apartment, elevator that opened right into the apartment. It was amazing. It was huge. It was wonderful. We all had never lived in New York City before. And this was our first time truly being on our own. Like, we're paying bills now. Now, granted, all of us could call, our parents and things like that just in case we needed money. But we were truly like out there, like living. It was giving Sex in the City, without, I guess, most of the white girls in it. But it was still fun. Like, the cocktails are flowing. We're going out at night. We're getting up. We're going to work. We're doing all these things. We're having these conversations, blah, 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 razzle dazzle. And we didn't know what we were doing. We were just out there having fun. Man, we were in the club. Oh my gosh. We would be in the club after work, like start at a happy hour, then hit up the club, then maybe even hit up a strip club, depending on who you were with after that. You weren't leaving those places until like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And sometimes you weren't leaving until like 4:35 a.m., knowing you had an 8 a.m. status meeting. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you were leaving, going home to change into more work clothes because you had on your same work clothes from the night before. We weren't going home and changing into our best body cons and stilettos. We were in the club in business casual. We were. It was just easier that way. And also, it was a requirement of the times for us to dress like that, which is another story as to why. Anyways, but we were on our game. And also, not only were we on our game after work, we were actually making business deals. We were meeting new people who were like in this industry, that industry. Oh my gosh, my office is working with your team, or blah, blah, blah. Things were happening, okay? Things were going down at Mars 2112. Things were happening at cafeteria at 2 a.m. Things were happening at Sue's Rendezvous. I mean, they probably were. But anyways, we were just living our lives and doing whatever. It was like no consequences. Everything was great and amazing. Nobody cared. None of us made over $50,000 at that time. Unless you were one of the boys in finance. Then you were buying the bottles and the tables. And we loved it. Chef's kiss. Good times. Shout out to them. We weren't lost in a sense, but we were definitely finding ourselves as we were having a good time. We were just exploring. It was like the Please Touch Me Museum in Philadelphia. You would just wanted to be a part of everything and get a taste of this. Also, you could reinvent yourself from who you were in college and from who you were in high school. And that was one of the best ways to explore a new identity or a new personality trait, or just you stepping into being more of who you were. Because yeah, it was the first time for us being amazing and in control of everything we did, including setting our alarms at 6 a.m. to get up for work. Thank God the train was fast. But in all of that to say, we didn't really realize that we were like fully adults, like with major responsibilities at first. We were having a great time, and that's all that mattered. And you should have a great time too. But also keep in mind that there is no manual for anything. There is no secret meeting that you missed out on. So sometimes you will feel a little bit lost or what's going on. And don't worry, nobody else knows either. Trust me, some of them still don't know. So nowadays, when I was in my 20s, things were a little bit different than you guys being in your 20s. Social media wasn't really a thing. Like, it was around. We had Facebook, we had Instagram, but not the Instagram that you guys have today, not even close. There were no real influencers at first. People were just posting things. Oh, you were following your friends, you saw something, it was cute, whatever. Honestly, one of the first influencers I think back then was a dog named Bo. Cute little dog. But yeah, it wasn't like people where there's like mad influencers and personalities now, and you're just like, oh my God, I love their aesthetic and their thing. Honestly, back then we were all improvising. It was the Wild West. Let me just tell you, it was the Wild Wild West. We were all improvising, like every single one of us. And the more confident that people were, or they looked like they were, the more often they were probably improvising or just riffing. They were pretty much just selling us on whatever it is that we needed to believe in that moment. And a lot of times we were buying it. And we needed to. Again, we're in our 20s. Do whatever you want. You can make so many mistakes. But all in all, there are a ton of things that I miss about my 20s. Like having the stamina and the cellular energy to go from going to work to happy hour to the club to home back to work and just do it all over again, day after day, week after week. I miss that sometimes because the drinks were always flowing. Sometimes we showed up a little buzzed at work, and you really learned your lesson while you were at work and everybody's emailing each other. I'm barely making it. Barely making it, because we really were barely making it. I mean, water was on tap. Sometimes people were throwing up in the bathroom. And was there a time or two where you stopped on the way to work to buy a new outfit because you had on the same thing from the night before? Maybe. Hey, maybe. Thank God for H&M, Rainbow, all of the other places that were open at that time, because they would open at like 8 a.m., 8 o'clock. They knew. Daffy's was one. For all my New York people who have been there forever, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Century 21 was also one of those places, but that was downtown. So if you were in the Five Eye District, made sense. But listen. We didn't know what we were doing. And it's okay. So my point of this whole video is that none of us know what we are doing. Nobody has it all figured out. And you're going to be absolutely fine. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to have the best hair care or facial care routine right now. You don't need to have the best style right now. You don't even need to have the best boyfriend or friend circle right now. But you're going to learn, and you're going to get there. Because again, life comes at you fast. And yeah, wow. Now, even though I do miss things about my 20s, I will say my 20s is the place that I probably will not want to go back to. I don't need to. It is a wild, unbridled time. And once you're through the trenches of discovering and learning and having fallouts and vacations, we'll get there, and just figuring it out, money management for the first time, and you know, all of these things that really define you as an adult, I'm good. I don't need to return there. Because the 20s, if you think about it, they are a great kind of foundation and a beginning of a constructual time for you in your life, but I don't need to go back there. We've laid the concrete. I don't need to go back. But just know, you may not have it all figured out right now, but you will. And it's going to be okay. It really is. It's going to be okay. And you're not alone. You're never alone. You think you're by yourself? You're not. There are hundreds of thousands of people that are right there with you, that are doing the same exact things that you're doing, and who are also questioning the same things you're questioning. So yeah, Your 20s are great.